one. Let's. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anthony Gibson. I'm your host of the show called Rebranded, alongside my co-host Adrian Ace Stinson. What's up, Ace?
Hey, what's going on, world? How y'all doing out there?
We got Eric Russell sitting down below. It looks like he's talking to somebody, but it's okay. I'm still introducing him. What's up, Eric?
What up, everybody?
We're gonna talk fast like this all night long. Okay, y'all get ready. Okay, Eric, go. Your turn. Fast. You gonna talk fast?
Sound like you making a disclaimer.
Hey, look, we'll have fun tonight. Tonight we're talking the remedy of racism, which is something we said we were going to talk about last week, but we didn't really hit it. Tonight we're going to hit it. We're going to jump into it. The remedy to racism. We've talked about this on the phone this week. Me and Eric and me and Ace. We've talked about this coming. Have a good time talking about this. All of you out there, we want you to go ahead and be sure to share this show.
Share this page, please.
Right on. Share it. He said the page. I want y'all to share the show. Share the show. Let's have
page
fun.
two. Page
Most
two.
important. Yeah, the page two is fine.
Well, ain't the show on the page?
It's on YouTube also. So if they're watching,
We'll share YouTube too.
And it's on other places too. So share wherever you are. Share. They said he said 3 times.
Slow motion.
All right. The remedy to
That candy
racism.
man.
We want y'all to comment about this all night long. We are talking the remedy to racism. All right. So I believe the remedy to racism starts with us.
Yeah.
Not white folks. I think systemic racism and all those things we can't control, that's one thing. But the remedy to racism itself, that's another. We're going to talk about all those tonight. These and other things too. I think we have some Kanye as a part of our menu tonight. Tony and I are here. Hey, folks. That's my folks, by the way.
Hey, look out now.
Yeah, okay. The remedy to racism. So when y'all hear this topic, tell me what you think this topic means.
I think it sounds like a plan. It sounds like a plan. Sounds like something being put into action. Sounds like something being brought forthcoming, being evolved, birthed maybe.
I think when I hear it, I think it sounds like something that I think we've been working on for a long time, just not necessarily collectively. I think in different pockets of the American country, I think people have been working on it. You know, you got big people like Martin Luther King, you got other people like Harriet Tubman, people like that prior to him and things like that. But people in present day do things now to help in racism. I do agree with you though. I think that racism does start with Black people. Because I think there's racism even within our own culture. I mean, there's something called colorism, right? So that's racism against your own people that's a little bit lighter than you, or a little darker than you. So it has to start with us.
Remedy to racism. Did I spell it right? I think I know the remedy to all that noise we heard is a can of WD-40 over there, Ace. Look here. I think the remedy to racism is kind of simple. The foundation is all about your mind, right? Who was it I heard today? I think it was Muhammad Ali or somebody said, if you want to see greatness and if you've not seen it, then be the greatness that you have not seen yet. To me, that's the remedy to all the problems that you have.
That sounds like something I said.
If you're broke and you don't have money, the remedy to that is you. Fix it. If you're angry all the time, people are making you mad all around you all the time, the remedy to your anger is you. So I think that's the very first start on the remedy to racism. Let me look deep inside. Let me find out what's going on, because nobody can really deny my best, right? Not in 2022. I mean, with the exception of all the systemic stuff that's set in place that individuals have no control over. I think to me, that's the absolute very beginning of the remedy to racism. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this. Let's go back to 1965. All right, we got Lovin versus, what was his name? The state of whatever, Virginia, where black men or black people couldn't marry white people. Y'all know that legally, right? So 1965. Okay. So here we are now in 2022. You can get married. Let me ask y'all, is that a part of the remedy? Interracial couples?
Definitely not. I don't think it's a part of the remedy because I'm one of the people that I firmly believe. I do believe in unity and togetherness, but I just believe as a race we were better off with segregation. We achieved more. We did more. We loved each other more. We cared about each other more. We went that extra mile for each other and for ourselves. So I definitely don't think that interracial marriage is part of the remedy.
Okay, so the question has been posed. Y'all see it on the screen there. I'm gonna let y'all answer it, then I'll give my answer. But the question is, can black people be racist? What's the definition of racism? And go.
What's the definition? Let's look it up.
I mean, this is a question posed by the public, by our viewers. So you tell us what you think your definition is.
I don't think it's kind of hard. It's kind of a hard question. You think about it. But I mean, I think black folks can be racist. I know by definition we can't. But I take it back. I think we can be prejudiced, but I don't think we can be racist.
Yeah, we've had that discussion before. I agree with that. I think there's prejudice. It's like the colorism thing. I think it's more of a prejudice, right, as opposed to racism. So I did look up the definition for racism in Wikipedia, and because I like to have what the generalized view of what everybody kind of come towards. And it states that the belief that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities, especially so as to distinguish them as inferior or superior to one another. So that is racism.
Well, and with that definition, I say black people can be racist. Can black people be racist against white Americans? Now, that's a different question. But yes, we can think we're better than Mexicans. We can think we're better than Canadians and whatever else. I think we can be. Now, can I think typically against white people, we can't be racist. I think we can be, we can discriminate. We can purposely discriminate against white people, but I don't think we can be racist against them unless you truly believe that your race of black people is, superior. So I don't know. Anyway, let's go to the comments we have. Somebody says, yes, sir. That's so funny.
Oh, I'm just laughing at you. You got your point. You're like, okay, move on.
I made it. I did it. Yeah, I mean, with the racism thing, I don't know. I think as time passes, that might be a possibility. But I think honestly, it's black people. We're not racist by nature. Like we're always to try to get along. To try to be with, try to equal out with folks.
All right, so let's talk remedy to racism. Now, I think I said whenever we first started off the show that it begins with me, right? So the very thought, we mentioned this last week, of how we are perceived in the public, how we are perceived in the world, right? So it's funny how whenever even black people see the absolute worst of us, we compare that to the absolute best of any other person. All right. You see a black girl come in with flip-flops and fuzzy hair and fuzzy slippers or whatever the case may be, her worst. You say, look how we come in here. We come in Starbucks looking like this, and then you get this corporate white lady who's about to go to work and try to compare that girl to this girl. They're not going to the same job. They're not from the same neighborhood. They're not the same at all. But that's the two that we compare each other to. Now, I think that begins, that's a thought, that's a mind set that we need to, as black people, just eliminate. You know what I mean? Because even if she does have fuzzy slippers on, and trust me, I hate the bonnets out in public. I hate all this unprofessional, I don't want to say professionalism, but I hate all this wretchedness out in public. But at the same time, I don't know that I'm able to judge them and make any kind of comparison or say, what do y'all think?
Well, so do you think we need to compare the hood rats to the trailer trash? Is that
I don't think you need to compare anybody to anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember having this discussion way back when we first started rebranding the podcast, right? And my views have shifted quite a bit since then. I was a big proponent of we got, like you're saying, I want to make sure when I see somebody on the news and it's a robbery, I don't know. I hope there's not a black man. Hope there's not a. Now I can actually calm down, and if it's a black, white, Hispanic, whatever, I'm okay with it because that's the individual. I don't let that one person dictate who I am or my race, honestly, anymore. I used to do that, but that took a lot of self work on my part to do that, though. Like I said 2 years ago, when we was talking about this, had this conversation before about racism, I was there. Now, like I said, I can just look at the situation for what it is. And go back to what you said about the lady in fuzzy slippers, things like that. Hey, how do I know that she had not coming in for an emergency or something like that? So you don't know the situation while she's coming in. Now, she may be just real lazy fire and just chilling out, walking to Walmart like that. If she is, so what? It don't have any bearing on me necessarily. And it shouldn't have any bearing on the race. It shouldn't, but it does. But it shouldn't.
That's what I mean. That's the funny part.
Sounds like Eden just gave up hope for the race.
No, I'm not giving up hope. I think in order to have hope, you have to understand that we're going to be individuals, and then we have to be able to love each other regardless of our differences, whether we all one race or we 4 or 5 different races. So once again, a black person like me may be something different than somebody that look like Ace or somebody that look like Christina or somebody that look like an Anthony or whatever case it may be. Same thing with white people. They don't do it. Why should we? That's how I look at it.
And because that to me reminds me of comments that we all say is, "Oh man, they just set us back." My mama always say that your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, so that you know how to answer every man. It's a biblical, it's a scripture, and I think your words are so important. And we say this, we continue to kill ourselves with our words all the time, and we'll say, "Oh man, she did that, and that just set us back 200 years." That's a long time, 200 years. That's back to slavery. You know what I mean? That's before 1865. So I think that's part of the remedy to racism is it's a mindset for us. We have to first learn how to eliminate some of the words that we say because we put ourselves right in that box. For example, why do we have to represent or be represented by everything that each other does? Does that make sense? Why do we have to be represented by everything that each other does in the black community? So I don't think so. I shouldn't be embarrassed. And I'm like you, Eric. I've been out in the public places many a times and I see black people do certain things. And I'm like, oh man. Because when I was in college and I remember, y'all know the camaraderie that black people have. We go to the mall, especially in strange places, and we say hi to each other. Hey, and we don't do that to white people. We don't do it to anybody else. We certainly do it to us. And white people start thinking we all know each other. So now they all associate us with each other. And so we associate ourselves at that point with them. I don't know if y'all experienced that. I have certainly several times. And so all of a sudden now we have this camaraderie and, it just kind of lumps us all together. So if one of us mess up, we feel like it's all of us.
I think that, unfortunately, I don't think we have that luxury to try to individualize. I mean, I understand what y'all are saying, and I agree. You saying, hey, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm a standing black man, stuff like that. But unfortunately, we've been put in a position where the world groups us and the world sees us a certain way. And just like our name, rebrand, unfortunately, we have to rebrand ourselves, and that's gonna take everybody. And one slip up sets us back. When they show something crazy on the news and it's one of us, the world sees us. They don't see that black man. They see black people.
But think about it like this.
Think about it like this. What proof do we have that anybody sees us together? Eric messes up. What proof do they see? In fact, if Eric messes up, what proof do we even have that they see rebrand us? Us three. Or is that just something we say?
It's a good question. I'm even gonna pose a different way. Even I think about it like this: if let's say that's true, what you're saying right now, why add to that fire? So if white people do think that, or think this, or think these things, right? Why would we want to be in that same thought pattern, right? So we're not really breaking a cycle. We're not really rebranding. We just add into what people are already thinking upon. So we have to break it. Again, that's seeing somebody out there with fuzzy slippers on. I still a dude out there making some bad mistakes. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna go talk to him. Hey man, that wasn't a good decision. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking out for him. But it's going to ultimately help us. But you got to be, once again, we're talking about the camaraderie and building a relationship. We got to build a relationship. You can't really judge somebody if you don't know the situation. If I go talk to him or her, I find out more, and then I can build that bridge or whatever case it may be. And at some point, maybe not today, but maybe in 3 months, maybe it looks totally different. And maybe she is a good representation of Black people if that's how people look at us as a whole.
What is the remedy to racism? That's what we're talking about tonight. Thank y'all for y'all comments. Jermaine Givens was the individual who sent those comments. We appreciate it. Hey, look
What's
here.
up, Jermaine?
We got this crab in the barrel mentality, they say. Now, Eric, I think it was you who sent me the clip with comedian Ali Sadiq. Great clip. I wish I'd have brought it up, but too many times they try to delete us once we do that, so I just let it be. But crab in the barrel, one thing he explained is you have to understand what crabs are. They travel in bunches. One eats, they all eat. So what they do is they do a lot of sharing. He said, so whenever they see one of them in distress, typically they try to help to pull one of them out of distress. You have to know what a crab is. I don't know much about crab. I don't eat those individuals. But this is what he said about a crab. So y'all go and do your own study. But typically, if you put a lot of crabs in the barrel, they all cling to each other to help each other out. So if one is trying to get out, they're really not pulling each other down. They're actually trying to pull each other up. Is that who we are? Are we crabbing? It's kind of a glass half empty, half full situation. So let's talk about that for a little bit, because the negative side of it is Black people just pull each other down. See, because I believe the remedy to racism starts with us. So if you look at the glass half full, then it's saying that all we're doing is crabbing the barrel, pulling each other down. But half empty, we're pulling each other up. Now, of course, I know that usually the content in which they're saying it is not a positive one, but I want y'all to speak on that. But first, Helen, what's up, Helen? She said, "Ooh, yes, love defining things." Go on, Helen. We love it when you're on here. What's up, gal? Who said that? Is that Ace?
I was talking to Helen. Man, you gonna read everything on her?
You had to follow in with the stereotype and say gal. California.
Man, y'all say it's individualized, so it don't matter. So what you saying with the crab and the barrel? They go back to what I'm saying. Like, so it's looked at two ways, right? You just gave a different definition, and I like that. I think that's very profound. But unfortunately, the negative is what shows. So the actual crab in the barrel, pulling them down mentality is what's displayed, and that's what's seen in the public. What Helen talking about here?
Helen, let's go to the comments. Helen says, "I think Black people have less patience with Black people, so we're quicker to drag someone. I love it, but when we support, we support." I like how she have the all caps on the "we support." Absolutely, I agree with it. See, here's the thing. I mean, the world is all about negativity. What can we find that's negative? The news don't tell about how I got 10 referrals this month at my job and now I'm gonna make bonus, but instead the news is gonna tell about who got shot down the street. And it don't matter the race, it's just negativity on the media. It's news all day long. So the same thing goes with us. When we see Black people in the news and the media, we see nothing but negativity. But the reality is there's a lot of good things going on. Helen, who's Black, by the way, she supports us right here on this small time situation. Jermaine's over there supporting us and the rest. So they don't report those things. That's a crab in the barrel, but it's the positive. It's like, okay, let me give them some numbers. Let me look at them. Let me pull them up. And nobody reports those things. It's only when you see Black on Black crime. It's
so
only
So you saying if Helen shot you, we'd be on the news?
Oh, we'd be on the news, but I wish you would have used Eric as an example.
Wow. Okay.
She said, when we support, we support. I don't want to come down here. All right, so y'all speak on it. What do y'all think?
I think, yeah. Oh, there you go, right there. I think it's a agenda. That's why I was saying that comment there is that comment there was perfect. The agenda. That's why I was saying earlier, we don't have the benefit of, unfortunately, we all grouped together because the agenda has done that. We don't own any media sources. So when something is reported, it's going to be reported as such. So it's kind of like the Barack Obama situation. He had to walk a straight, narrow line the entire time because he knew one incident was going to blow the whole thing. And unfortunately, that's what we put at right now. We got to walk that straight fine line.
I mean, I don't even know if we think it, if we want it, or if we just say it. Barack Obama became the president. Think about it. That's pretty high level. So somebody believed in themselves enough to get to that high level. We've had black vice presidents, female black vice presidents. We've had secretary of states. I don't know about governors, but we've had some major people in major places to do major things. So these things are happening. You know, small pieces are falling through the crack. Ain't no doubt about it. But the opportunities are there. We're doing these things. So can we, after you do in football or in sports or in boxing, anything, once a great team gets beat, then all the other great teams learn how to beat them. Does that make sense? So once black people do something great, how come the rest of us can't learn how to follow in the footsteps and do that same great thing? So for us to say, oh, well, we don't have the luxury. Yes, we do. We have luxuries. We just need to follow in the footsteps. Now, you know, we can't make careless, crime-filled mistakes. You know what I mean? We have to walk a straight line. No doubt. I agree with that. But we still have the opportunities and those luxuries. Let's go to Helen real quick. She says, we got to expose more of the positive images, authentic images. The fact I'm seeing more black men in positive commercials, we making some progress. She also says, actually, this is not her, but when we see each other, we see threat. There we go.
Yeah, because I done seen what y'all do. I done seen what they done did, Jermaine. Yeah, we see each other, we see threat. Hey, look, I saw them little 10 to 14-year-old boys jump them folks at that Dave and Buster's. You know, I seen the folks, shooting up stuff
but
like
see,
that.
the problem is you focusing on those.
Right.
You never seen any white kids do that same thing? White adults do that same thing, or Mexicans?
I've seen some 10, 14-year-old boys playing baseball the other day. I've seen 10, 14 guys walking down the street reading a book and playing a video and playing on their phones. We ain't talking about them. You know what I mean?
Well,
so it's
that's not a threat. That's not a threat. But hey, because I guess
it's not a threat.
We're natural survivors. So I love the fact that we see somebody playing baseball, see somebody reading a book, but you still got in the back of your head, you understand who some people are.
But I guess my question is, does it have to be somebody that look like you though? Is that the biggest threat that you have? I think it's what I'm trying to figure out for some people, right? Because I don't necessarily think that we are our biggest threat. I think that we, once again, can be our best support. I think we can be our best family, we can be our biggest enemies at sometimes too. But I don't think that's the biggest part of who we are. Like I said, it's me. I'm all about the wolf scenario, right? So it's an old story about the two wolves, right? We're talking about two dad with the two son with the alcoholic dad, right? So one son became alcoholic because, and they asked him why. So my dad drank. The other son said, "Hey, why you don't drink?" Because my dad was alcoholic. It's what you feed, right? So if I'm gonna continue feeding myself these negative images and I'm gonna continue focusing on just that, I'm going to report that. Once again, I got 100 boys playing baseball, doing really good things, but I got these 4 boys that robbed somebody or beat somebody up. I'm gonna focus on them 4 and then get the 100. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, hey, Jesus went back for the one sheep.
Let's go back to, I think that goes back to the agenda. Great comment, Helen. The agenda, but the unfortunate part about the agenda is we fall in line with the agenda.
Absolutely.
Now I'm not going to disagree that there's not an agenda at all. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
There's certainly an agenda. So the thing is, we don't have to follow in that agenda. But when we fall down to it, then they're going to focus on that one thing. Let's go back to the comments real quick. Helen says, "I love your comments, Helen. Keep them coming." She says, "Black." You know what? Go ahead.
You want to come on? You want to come on? People are going to always be the less than. If you have at least one white, usually male person in power, who agrees black or less and can push that agenda. IMO.
Yeah. We're over 40, so IMO. You gonna have to. Sorry.
Yeah, I was finished. I was waiting on one of y'all to break it down.
I would have told you what IMO meant.
Oh,
if I knew what it meant.
No, I know it. In my opinion.
Okay.
In my opinion. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
I beat you to it, Helen. You too slow. I beat you to it. We know what that is. We ain't old like that.
That could be the game show topic for us, but we've been looking like, huh? IMO.
So we're about halfway through the show. One thing we've been throwing out there many times is the agenda. Okay, the agenda. And Helen, she's thrown it out there several times.
Is she right?
What's the agenda? What does it mean? What is the agenda?
The agenda is to so-called keep us in our place, and it seems the agenda is so stupid that it seems unreal to some people. But the agenda is basically literally it's fueled out of hate. It's just to make sure that the black race does not succeed. It's that simple.
Keeping blacks less than. Eric, what's the agenda?
The agenda, I think it touches on everybody. I think the agenda is really programming people to think a certain way. You know what I mean? So if once again, that's what the news outlets are out there for. That's what these newspapers were out there for. I mean, I think it's all about programming people to line them up to think a certain way. That's what I think the agenda is.
I think from a bigger scale, there's an agenda everywhere. I think religion is a part of the agenda. I think government and taxes are a part of the agenda. There's a huge agenda. Our portion of that agenda is really based on what's going on in America. It's like America, whoever founded America feels like they own America. They run America. They have America. And I think they're part of the biggest agenda of the world. But I think for some strange reason, we are a main component of that agenda. Is to keep us to a certain. Is it your skin color? Maybe, because even biblically, there are some people who were kept down because of their, religion or race or whatever. Because why they want to always promote black negativity, but give the white boy who shoot up a school McDonald's. Well, he shot up a church and they gave him Burger King. I fully agree with you on that.
You're in the same ballpark, though.
You're
right. She like a husband on the 50th anniversary trying to describe the first date. It was a green dress, and we were by the lake.
Quick to show criminal record of George Floyd. That's the agenda right there. That's a frustrating part. See, that's a portion of the remedy to racism. It's like, think about it. You got a white young man, you got a black young man. If they do the same crime on television, they're going to tell you that he's a black gentleman. They'll tell his height, they'll tell where he's from, they're going to tell that he's on drugs or he did drugs or his criminal record, this, that, and other. But if he's white, we only hear about it that day. And then we really don't hear about it, fades away. We don't hear much about who's the guy that shot up the people in Buffalo. Or the individual that shot up the people in Parkland, Florida.
Don't know.
Or even the individual who shot up Uvalde, Texas. We don't know these people. You know what I mean? But if the people, some of the victims who get killed around America, we know these people, and not only because they're black and it made it to mainstream, but we, to the main. What's the word I'm looking for? But we also know their criminal record.
Mass media, I guess.
Mass media, yeah.
Hold on, how you go ask a question and then speed right past before somebody get answer? That's what I don't understand.
Well, because there's a word that you are not utilizing. It's called rhetorical.
What's rhetorical though?
But answer it. If you know the answer to it, answer it.
I think H just did. He said mass media. He said, "What's the word I'm looking for?" That's what the question was.
I didn't know what question you were.
Maybe it was rhetorical. My bad.
That makes you real angry. It makes you want to use a crazy nomenclature. But I'm going to digress.
I digress. I don't know which word is bigger. All right, we're talking what is the remedy to racism. So thank you for your comments. Helen, keep them coming. Everyone else, Jermaine, keep them coming. I think, so racism from our perspective is that we got to change the way we speak about each other and think about each other. We still have to have that safety and prejudices for safety. But mainstream, what's the first step for mainstream white media to just kind of eliminate racism?
Somebody have to, is Miss Goodson watching? Somebody has to give a curve. That's right here. That's the word of the day.
Year for us.
No, somebody has to curve. Let's start with that. Somebody actually has to give a darn. I wish I could say the other one.
Oh man, you just changed 2 letters. Or you trying to change 4?
Look, I like being invited to Bible study. I like being. I can't get that.
Show fairness in the judicial system. I think will be huge. Boom! I didn't know it was coming.
You did. Yeah, you did.
Well, we can read the we just reading the comment, right? So hey, they got to give a shit.
I think that the remedy to racism, the very beginning, is probably going to be what you see. If what you see is all you see, then you don't see all that there is. And I think that we don't see enough representation. Where is that representation? Probably in the media, probably in politics and all these places, high places. We have to see more of us, because I used to work, just like Ace used to work for a company called Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And we both were, MTs, management trainees, stuff like that, managers. But we never made it past that, because in Dallas, there's only one black person above a regular management level, just one. And there's probably 6-7 levels above that in Dallas alone. Some of these people make $2-3 million a year. But in Dallas, there's one guy who makes about $120,000 a year. One out of 50 positions total. And I think that we saw that. Eric saw that. I mean, Ace saw that, and Damon and all these guys who watched the show, they saw that. And we knew we couldn't get any higher than that. So what, did we try to get any higher? No, because we knew the glass was not even really a glass ceiling. The ceiling was not really a glass ceiling. It was just a ceiling for us. We knew we only had so far we could go. So I think the American public is the exact same way. When we feel like we can only go so far, then we only try so hard. Black people, if we can start seeing more, we'll get more. I think Barack Obama himself saw more. He had more in him. Michael Jordan saw more. There's a list of people who do that, and they get more. I think generally the black public, just don't see opportunity. And that's bad, because us three, I think we see it, and we grab as much of it that we can possibly grab of it. But we only grab so much of it too. So I think the start is we have to see more representation of us, so that we can understand that those are places we can go to as well.
100. Yeah.
That wasn't just a speech. I think y'all can comment. I didn't have it written.
No, I think that as far as the mainstream media, once again, what you said initially is where it starts with is it's individually and in the community itself. And you talking about the systemic stuff that's in the mainstream media and the judicial system. Like I said, at this point, we can't even begin to unlock those things right now, because we still got to deal with that one first. So once again, I just want to reinforce that idea that we really need to look in the mirror and, like, how do I think about my brother? How do I think about my sisters? How do I think about all that good stuff, my community? And regardless of the good, the bad, and then everything in between, you still got to love one another, right? But in regards to the mainstream media, I think there is representation, but I also think, though, there's been so much damage done by the negative imaging, it's gonna take a while for us to kind of coming back around to the positive stuff, because there are a whole lot more positive things, and I don't hear as many issues about, like, back in the day when I was growing up, when we was growing up back in the 80s and 90s. I date this a little bit. Every time you saw something about a black man that's a criminal on TV, it was repetitive all the time. Now you still hear that, you still see it, but it's not as repetitive now, because it's already programmed. Going back to it's already programmed in us already, so they don't have to do it as much. All they gotta do is show a glimpse of it to go back down to your subliminal, and you're gonna remember these things come back up. So again, we got to go back and figure out how to take that stuff out of our memories, take the stuff out of our thought, and replace it with some other stuff that we're talking about now. All these positive things we're trying to embrace, but that's a lot of work. It really comes down to if we want to do the work. So you go into a job and you make $40,000 a year, but you want to go to $100,000 a year job. You can get there if you see representation, and then once you see representation, are you willing to do the work to get there? So that's kind of where I see we are as a community too.
All right, let's go to the comments real quick. We got one comment that says, and it's going back to a mentality thing, I believe. Why do we only want hookups when it comes to black businesses?
Man, you already know Mickey D's ain't giving you nothing. If it costs
Walmart ain't either.
$7.39 and you got $7.34, you better go find that nickel.
Even the gas station might not let you use the penny that's already given by other individuals. I think that's the problem with black people, is once we see people who look like us, then we have this family type of feel, and we think that we should be able to get and enjoy in their growth or their riches.
Mhm.
And the unfortunate part about that is we have to make it first. And then when we make it, we got to act like everybody else too. So hookups are a word that we should not even have in our language. Next comment.
Yeah.
What about the rap lyrics? And I think rap, and that's the same thing. I think that's the programming portion of self-programming.
That's part of the agenda.
Black people saying to black people these things, and we buying it because music is the universal language. When you say music speaks to everyone, everywhere, and eventually those lyrics starts to get through your psyche. That's why that's why people play only gospel in their house. Maya Angelou wouldn't allow negative speaking or gum chewing in our house. That was something to that. So anyway, Eric,
it's that spearmint child. Spit it out.
Oh, she's gonna get you one day. She's gonna listen to this podcast. Like, I'm gonna get that ace one day. I'm gonna get that dude.
Maya Angelou?
Mm-hmm.
I hope not.
But she has access to everything. You gotta remember that.
You gonna have to explain this one to me and the week. I didn't get it.
But I'm talking about if you believe in heaven, right? And she's in heaven at this point, right?
Make it plain, Pastor.
I'm saying if she have access to see things, I'm saying she's gonna get you one day. Come back thinking. Smasher said that.
Like, I tell this all the fun. My girl Nikki Giovanni got my back. Does she good?
What is the remedy to racism?
Real quick, so the problem with the rap lyrics is it teaches everybody how to treat us, including us. These rap lyrics, it teaches the world how to treat us. When you listen to them, it teaches them how to handle us. It teaches them how to approach us. It teaches them how to think about us, and it teaches them how to go about, just overall dealing with us. It's kind of like a blueprint to, hey, this what's up with Black America. This how it go.
But okay, this is my question to that. You say us, okay, linking us together, meaning black skinned people together. You, me, Eric, 3 college-educated individuals with professional careers and families and children who go to church, who go to work, who do this, that, and other, whatever, together, who has this podcast. We have these conversations. When you say us, you can't necessarily link us 3 up with Lil Wayne. Or I'm trying to think of some of these rappers, but I don't really watch them. You can't link because the verbiage, the world they come from, the things they do, that they're living in right now, all of these things, we're not dealing with those things right now.
You're not, but they don't know that.
And the masses of us, meaning us 3, aren't dealing with those things. My parents aren't dealing with these things. My sister, she's not dealing with these things, and so forth and so on. So when they look into the rap lyrics, they don't see us. They see what these individuals are preaching, and it's not us anymore. I mean, I don't know where y'all come from, but y'all ain't there no more. So when they say that all of a sudden is a generalized statement of all black people are the same. That's not the case at all. We're different.
It's definitely not.
We want the same thing that white people want. The exact same thing. Money, nice family, go to heaven, nice house, all these things.
When I want pea salad. I don't want pea salad.
I want pumpkin. I'm a pumpkin guy.
You know what? We gonna get canceled. That statement right there, they ain't gonna leave us on too much longer. Black man sitting there talking about he's a pumpkin guy.
Nevertheless, the remedy to racism, I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and I think it's a very important portion of it. We won't spend any time on it, but I think a portion of remedy to racism. Let me say it from a different direction. Reparations. We talked about this last week. Okay, so if reparations were given to us, do you think that would add to racism or subtract from racism, even if it was done in the proper way?
I think it would add, because the stereotypes would be through the roof. I mean, the stereotypes would be through the roof. I mean, you automatically right now don't nobody have to say a word. You already know which car company will be numero uno if we got reparations. You know,
I don't think so. I think that old joke is I think it's an old joke. People ain't buying no Cadillacs like that anymore. Depending on how much money people are getting. I think we've had this conversation once before. That if let's just say that reparations were given to Black Americans, all Black Americans, they gave X amount of dollars, whatever. I think if we had this kumbaya moment, what happens is we see a separation again. And so Black people started moving in Black neighborhoods and all these things. And that to me, separate but equal is still a thing, you know, because it's separate but not equal, you know, Plessy versus Ferguson. So if all of a sudden we start gravitating towards each other, trying to start businesses, trying to do this Claude Anderson world where we have our own government, our own business, our own schools, own these things, then we put ourselves right back into a box that we were in 1920 with reparations. So that to me is not necessarily the antidote to racism. Let's go to the comments. It says, we don't grow up with financial literacy in our home, so we're going to blow that money.
Yep. Yeah, I seen Dave Chappelle. Hot hand in a dice game, baby.
So what do y'all think? Do y'all think that reparations would just eliminate us? We would just do away with the money and 10, 15 years later, you don't even know? Or would it actually do some good?
Well,
I think it's too many variables in the way. I think Jermaine brought up a good point just then. If we're in the houses right now, and whether your kid is 18 months or 25, if we're in and they're in the house, obviously, or even outside the house, still coming and get some wisdom from their parents. If we're teaching financial literacy now, in 20 years, they could be a totally different answer. And maybe while I'm out now, 16, but 24, 25, they got their stuff together, and the whole generation, the majority of the generation, doing things differently. It could really lower some of the racism down. I think at least the stereotypical racism down in a way. I do think that it could shift a great deal if we use the money in a greater proportion together, moving in the same direction. Maybe not, I'll leave it at that. I'm not going too deep.
I think hate would just grow so strong. I think hate would just overrun out of the pores of America. If we were to get reparations. I think that there would be great hostility, resentment, hostility, just for the simple fact that we got something. Every other race. Go ahead.
The Bible says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil," and I think people would, when they start getting money, we'll see who people really are. So money, if reparations come in the form of money, then I think that will be not good, because people love, and then all of a sudden who they really are is going to come out. And I don't even want to go to the violent area and say stuff will be violent. I think it'll probably separate people more. People will become much more separate, because now they don't have this crab in the barrel. They don't have to look up to keep up with the Joneses. They can kind of go out and do things, and it's very detrimental and hurt themselves at that point. Eric, you kind of look like Mike Singletary right now. So I think that the remedy to racism is not necessarily money. It's not necessarily reparation. I think that's probably worse for us, to be honest with you.
I think Black unity. That's one of the answers to the equation. It has to be some type of Black unity. We'll have to change the way we treat each other, change the way we live amongst each other, change the way we handle each other, change the way we love each other. We're gonna have to get back to that. That community mindset of it's us. Those kids walking to school, those are our children. Those kids graduating, those are our children graduating. Us community. Looking out, because right now, the negativity is winning the race. You got these fools running around the neighborhood, causing out trouble, causing out chaos, shooting people, killing people, stuff like that. And that's part of what's holding us back right there.
You know what? This got nothing to do with nothing. I just want to say it anyway. Something that bothers me. I see a white couple, and they got 2 black little ones that they adopted. That doesn't bother me anymore. It used to, but what bothers me now when I see black people say, "Look at them, trying to help them little nigga babies," and you ain't adopting no black kids. That bothers me.
That's cool. We got our own black kids.
I'm just saying that they get mad at somebody.
Why does it bother you?
Because
Why does it bother you?
Because I mean, they're out there. I don't know their intentions. I'm hoping their intention is pure and they want to help kids, period, or somebody, period. But you got this other black people like, oh, they try to help them. And get mad about somebody trying to help somebody. That bothers me.
What if they African? Like, you know, they adopt a lot of those African babies. Is that same thing? Same feeling?
So it's like I said, it's not the adoption. It's the reaction to adoption of those kiddos.
So what do they call them? The kids?
You want me to say it again? I ain't gonna say it again. And I didn't intentional, but I see you caught it. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But I'm not
sound
like,
we all caught it.
It sounds like you ran the plantation for a few years before you started your new career.
I'm just saying that's what I've heard us say that before though. That's what I'm saying. I've heard us say that. So I didn't want to sugarcoat that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's go back to the comments. What about the rap lyrics? Let's talk about that for a minute. Rap lyrics, number one music genre in probably the world. Okay. If they started just doing straight positive rapping, everything's positive, no N words, no cuss words, maybe even a little bit of gospel thrown in there, but it's, you know, still groove, you can still go to the club, all this stuff, but yet it's just positive. Does this change anything?
Oh, definitely. It changed the mindset of our people, our youth. That changed the game 100%. Now, the thing is, the sad part is, we have those raps out there right now. We have those lyrics out there right now. It's just they won't. They choose not to play it.
So I doubt that there's a lot of white writers who's writing rap. Instead, it's us. So how come we aren't boycotting the record labels and just saying, "Hey, look, it's gonna be positive, or I go underground." Look, Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy was just even though it wasn't just positive, but he did everything on his own. YouTube. Ace, you look pretty sleepy right now. Everything was on his own.
This dude here on. Wow. Go ahead, Anthony.
How come we can't go the back door and just kind of keep the record industry out if they are part of the problem?
Because they the vessel that's fueling everything. It's kind of hard, when you got these people coming from nothing. You got these people coming from the hood, coming from being flat broke, and the quote unquote machine, the industry that's so bad. It's like it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to turn down 7-8 figure deal.
So the remedy to racism may just well be the music industry.
I think that's the largest piece of the equation. Like if we had the equation wrote out, the music industry would be in the parentheses.
Let's just be clear about this. It's an algebraic equation. There's so many letters and numbers in this equation right here to get the right answer, man. But definitely, I think it's a big piece of it for sure. Because part of the media, and the media is the biggest piece of it. In addition to how we look at ourselves, which goes back to the media, because they taught us to look at ourselves a certain way, and other people look at us a certain way. So
you I think the root of it is whatever you do every day. The root of it is whatever you do every single day. That's the one. That's the easiest way to eliminate some of the problems. Like what's the remedy to anything really? Getting fat, losing your job. What's the remedy to those things? I think you use that same antidote to this.
Getting a salad while you're on Indeed.
Yeah, knocking 2 birds out with 1 stone, as they say.
Yeah.
Posing as a white guy, huh?
Mm-hmm. Working on your voice. Yes, I'd like an interview. Yes, I'd like an interview.
Watch it. Rebrand us and the Ace. I had something I was going to say there, but I took it away. My name is Anthony Goodson. We have Eric Russell. We're talking about what is the remedy to racism. We want y'all to keep comments coming. Helen, you must be gone. Come on back. Jermaine, thank you for the comment. So what do y'all think the remedy to racism is? Maybe we're looking at the big picture way too big. I know most people are going to say something spiritual. It's probably the best and easiest way. But I don't know if the spiritual. I don't know if God, God being the remedy to racism, because we've had racism for 160 years. I know we've been praying about it. I know we have faith about it. Is there a different? What is God's place in racism, Eric?
For me personally, it's just having something to believe in and be able to keep the hope. And I mean, God gives you, he wants you to have faith, but he also commands us to do some work too. So that spirituality piece that God, he ain't gonna just give you what you want just because you want it and you got faith it's gonna happen. You gotta do some work.
Absolutely,
That's true.
Ace.
I feel like you said, work, and I think God plays a big part though, because those who so-called proclaim to call themselves Christians have honestly used God in a negative way.
All right, so we're talking Christian, we're talking relationship. If there's racism, what is racism? Does it equal hatred? Because see, prejudices and discriminations is one thing, but racism
Racism is hatred.
It embodies a lot of all of those things. So the remedy to racism would mean that we would have to eliminate the devil from the equation, because racism is rooted in hatred, right? So can God really fix that? That's the question. Because I think that, the devil is going to be around and he's going to do his thing, and God gives the world free, reign or whatever. So I don't know that there would be a remedy to racism religiously.
It's kind of like I don't think you can extinct stuff like that. Something so big, something you can't even touch. But you can touch it. I mean, you can get to the point where you can see some progress in the right direction. And I'm saying these things because I don't want people to give up hope, because it's racism gonna be around. It's gonna be in one shape, fashion, or form. And it's about, once again, you said the hatred piece, but also like I said, the devil said about superiority, right? So I need to feel superior to somebody else because of whatever I was told or whatever I was taught. So I think that stuff can still be turned around to an extent. I don't think we're going to make it extinct by any means, but I don't think that means you give up. I think when you say there's no remedy to it, it's never going to be extinct. I think people can get the idea, and why work towards it is that there's no goal that can be reached. So why work towards a goal that can be reached? So the goal, in my opinion, is make progress, not necessarily to make it extinct.
I think racism is a war between the haves and the have-nots, black and white, different people. It's a war. And the Bible said there will always be wars and rumors of wars. That's one of the reasons why I think there's going to be racism. War don't always have to come in the form of shooting guns and military. All right, so let's go to the comment. The remedy to racism begin on each individual's heart. I would assume that's Deborah Goodson. Great comment. I fully agree with that. And that's the biggest part of starting. But I think everybody have to. It's like a marriage. Like this is a marriage, America. All the people living here together. And I think in order to have a successful marriage, we both have to want it. We both have to go through counseling. We both have to try to work out, some of our issues. And I just don't think some marriages end in divorce. And so I think that that's the one part that we definitely need to, come together and try to fix. Ace, go ahead.
Real quick. So I didn't get to speak about the whole interracial marriage and things like that. But I'm curious.
That's one reason why you didn't. Because we didn't have any conversation about that. But go ahead.
Well, you did. Yes, Ace gave his perspective about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I'm curious. I'm not going to even respond to that question, but I think it's a good conversation to have at some other time, because I'm wondering now. I was always taught in my household, you need to bring somebody home to look like me, right? My mom said that to me.
If you can't use your comb,
right?
Don't bring it home.
Absolutely.
So you can't bring nobody home now, but hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I got the brush mentality now, so it's all good. But so I think definitely another black person can understand the struggle. But I'm wondering now, like, if you have more white people that saw the struggle in real time, and it's a white wife, black husband, whatever case it be, black husband, white wife. I might say this in the version. Anyway, I wonder, can they see it then better in living color, as the old shows say, right? As opposed to seeing it from a distance. Would that help?
I say no. I say they can't see it until they have children. That's when they see it.
That's when they see it. It's an actual part of them, not a mate just somebody they like or say they love, but it's an actual part of them. Yeah, I can see that.
And that's our perspective. And I wonder, I know several interracial couples, and I'm gonna start asking around about that. I'm curious now, actually. Appreciate the question.
Give us a report. All right, we've had a really good show. I've really enjoyed every one of y'all for watching. Thank you for sharing. Everybody who shared, which let me go to.
Oh yeah, indeed.
People shared. Let's see. Everybody who shares. Remember at the beginning we said we give a free T-shirt. And all right, so you know who you are. All right, hey yo Ace, what do we have next week?
Man, why I can't never get my proper intro up in this joint, like the mayor would say on
when the checks stop coming and they stop coming, and you get what you pay for.
No, but next week we're gonna have a great show. I've been hitting the streets hard, and I've been hunting these folks down, and I got them. So we're actually gonna be interviewing the folks who holding Kanye West Black Card for ransom.
Oh, we talked about Kanye did. We sure did.
That's it.
And what's the name of that show?
Like everything else, Donda.
His mama. Hey y'all, we thank y'all for watching the show this week. We had a great time. We don't know what we got going on next week, but something special just for you. Thank you for the comments, Jermaine, Deborah, and Tony Goodson, Helen. We really appreciate it. Everybody who's on right now. Hey y'all, be sure to tell your friends to go to Rebranders. We try to keep it positive on the page, on the Facebook page. So be sure to tell your friends to go there, like the page. We are ready for you. We got free T-shirts for everyone. See y'all next week.